Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Well, at the last minute, the Appellate Division of the Court reduced President Trump's absurd fine of $450-odd million to $175 million, I believe. It's amazing. And boy, was the mainstream media just licking their chops, just waiting for Donald Trump to go down. They couldn't believe it. And then when it didn't happen, they're whining about it. Let's hear some of the video from Fox and Jesse Waters.
Every reporter tightened their Windsor knots, steamed their pantsuits, and started the Trump bankruptcy countdown.
Bank accounts frozen, property seized. By the end of today, this could be a reality for Donald Trump.
Dun, dun, dun.
His assets, including some of these prized properties on the screen right there, could be seized if he can't make a nearly $500 million bond payment by the end of the day.
One more for you. Donald Trump could be forced to declare bankruptcy if he's unable to post his more than $450 million bond.
Just like Y2K, the countdown ended with nothing. Trump's buildings weren't seized. He wasn't bankrupted. He actually made $4 billion today. More on that later. An appeal.
That's actually true. Today, his net worth went up $4 billion, and you'll see later why. These guys got to be pulling their hair out. You know, when you go to take out the person at the top, and you miss, and you miss, and you miss, they become stronger and stronger. Change your tactics. Change your tactics. Now they're bringing up videos, something he said from like 8 years ago. It's amazing to me. Let's listen on to the whining of how the bad orange man did not go down.
This court said Trump doesn't have to put up $500 million cash bond. Sorry, Judge Nudie and Letitia. The court slashed the number to $175 million.
It's a sad day in our country in many respects, but the good day is that the appellate division was fair. It's a lot of money still, but the judge is corrupt, in my opinion. Greatly respect the decision of the appellate division, and we will abide by that. We'll put up cash or bond very quickly.
This is what it'll look like.
What's your collateral for the bond? Cash. And that was done by Biden and his thugs also, because they can't win an election because of the borders.
Now they're saying, well, this whole thing wasn't orchestrated by Biden. They're going to say later, there's no evidence of that. Do you think for a minute, even a millisecond, that Letitia James, Bragg, and the others, Fonnie Willis, and all of them would bring charges against Trump on the asinine bullshit that they have without running it by the White House first? Did it necessarily run by the president first? Well, his people, because if they thought in their wildest dreams that by charging Trump with all these ridiculous charges, it would hurt Biden's chances, they wanted the input from the Biden people. Well, who wouldn't? I would if I was them. It's just logic. Well, John, you're reaching. No, I'm not. Not at all. That just makes sense. And if they didn't, they're dumber than I thought, but we all know they did. There's no way, either directly or indirectly, that you use a third or a fourth party person to pass the information through. And there's logs in the White House of all these prosecutors. Do you think for a minute that the DOJ and Merrick Garland wasn't involved, getting his pound of flesh from everybody he can, especially Trump, because he feels like he was screwed out of a Supreme Court justice spot? Boy, there was divine intervention on that one. So, yeah, I do think that the Biden people were involved, and then later Biden. Did Richard Nixon break into the Watergate Hotel? No, he didn't do it himself, but he knew about it and his people orchestrated it. Let's listen on.
Because of energy prices, because of inflation, because of Afghanistan, the worst and most embarrassing day in the history of our country. He can't win because of Russia, because of all the problems, because of Ukraine being attacked by Russia. And he can't win because of the October 7th attack of Israel, which he should have never allowed to happen. Would have never happened if I were president. Ukraine would have never been attacked if I was president. And you wouldn't have inflation if I was president. We didn't have inflation. So all of these things, so what they do is they do election interference, which is court cases, and let's try and tie him up, and let's take as much of his money as possible. I respect the appellate division for substantially reducing that ridiculous amount of money that was put on by a corrupt judge.
The appellate court not only cut Judge Nudi's bond demand by more than half, the 5-judge panels signaling that Trump will probably win the case easily on appeal.
Now, I didn't check that out. I'll take Jesse's word for it. That being that the appeal, the win is so easy based on the facts, I'm kind of hesitant to believe they would come right out and say it, even though privately they're all lawyers and judges. They know better. They're probably thinking this will last 10 minutes in appeal court. So they split the difference, kind of. They made a substantial amount, $175 million is not chicken feed. He'll come up with it, and he'll move on. And he is right, though. You can... Most Americans, their wealth is on paper and not in cash. The vast majority of middle class and upper middle class people, their wealth is in stocks, their home, property. The number one investment, the number one money gainer of people in the middle class is their home. And when they retire, it's paid for. Do they have the cash? No, but they're worth that much on paper. Let's listen on.
Reversing almost the entire Judge Nudi ruling while the case plays out, allowing Trump to still run his company and apply for loans, same with Eric and Don Jr. Humiliating Trump, padlocking his properties and stealing his cash before the election, that won't happen. Today was a good day for America. You can't bankrupt a man just for beating Biden in the polls.
I have a lot of cash. You know I do because you looked at my statements. But I would also like to be able to use some of my cash to get elected. They don't want me to use my cash to get elected. They don't want that. They don't want me taking cash out to use it for the campaign.
Are you going to start putting money into your campaign?
Yeah.
You haven't done that since 2016.
Well, first of all, it's none of your business, I mean, frankly. But
I got to love it. Is there a candidate in the world, the former president, mind you, that would say, frankly, it's none of your business? It's about time these people were talked to like they deserve.
I might do that. I have the option.
Every indictment helps Trump, and every court victory helps him even more. We're witnessing a political injustice, and every day that he survives, he looks stronger. And Joe Biden looks weaker, and the system more corrupt.
This is all about election interference. This is all Biden-run things, meaning Biden and his thugs. They can't win an election because of the borders, because of energy prices, because of inflation, because of Afghanistan, the worst and most embarrassing day in the history of our country.
This was too much for MSNBC and CNN, who punched the censor button while he was just warming up.
Yeah, so while they're showing this live, then, of course, interrupt it and tell how much they think Trump is full of crap. MSNBC and CNN. What a shocker.
I respect the appellate division for substantially reducing that ridiculous amount of money that was put on by a corrupt judge named Engoron. He ought to be looked at.
And so we'll continue to listen to Donald Trump.
And as soon as he starts slamming the judge in the process, oh, time to break away. Time to break away. Scan and download MSNBC app. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I do listen. I do go on their website and CNN's once in a while. Sometimes it's for comic relief. Yep. Let's pull away and tell how many lies Donald Trump told.
But as he continues to make what are provably wrong statements.
Trump there laying out a plethora of falsehoods, perhaps the most blatant one, that all of these criminal cases were orchestrated by President Biden.
Now, do you really believe, even Biden supporters, do you really honestly believe that all these prosecutors, these district attorneys, all this legal might and muscle that go against Donald Trump, that they didn't run it by some staffers, maybe some people in the Oval Office in the West Wing, some people that have the ear of the president to get his okay, or not so much as okay, but just to make sure that he's okay with it and he's not against it, of course he would say okay. Think Merrick Garland didn't have meetings with them? He heads the Department of Justice. I mean, you'd have to be a fool not to believe it. Is there any concrete evidence of that? Well, there's a lot of sign-ins in the White House from all the prosecutors and their assistant district attorneys and people that work for them. You don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to figure it out.
The president is answering questions from reporters. More falsehoods from former President Donald Trump. Again, repeating this false claim that President Joe Biden is behind the slew of legal issues that he's facing.
That's not false. Letitia, Fannie, Loverboy, Jack Smith's team all visited or coordinated with the White House. White House visitor logs don't lie. Convicting Trump before...
That's not even counting the fact correspondence with people in the West Wing that will give messages to the president, in this case, President Biden. Don't tell me it didn't happen. I mean, these people are extremely well educated. They've been in this business a long time. This is pure politics. This isn't about justice. And don't think for a minute the highest ranking Democrat in the country, i.e. the president, President Biden, wouldn't want to know about and approve of what they were going to do before they did it. You have to be a fool not to believe it.
November is the centerpiece of the Biden re-election campaign, which is why every time cases get calendared or Trump wins on appeal, the media turns suicidal.
Honestly, this is so infuriating, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know if I care what the process is.
And while in the background, he's got a book that says taking down Trump. I don't care what the process is, he said. If you respect the process and you're a lawyer, and sometimes you lose, and sometimes you don't win as much as you like to win, that's the way all cases go. Ask any lawyer. Not everybody's Perry Mason.
He basically fashioned himself his own private militia to try to take over the Capitol.
So the people that stormed the Capitol on January 6th that caused damage were Trump's private militia. Now we know if this is true, if President Trump, that was his private militia, do you think he would have done it that way? It was the worst. They called it an insurrection, which it wasn't. But if even by their standards, it was the worst insurrection in human history. What do you think? This is like medieval times where you take over the castle, you're the king now? It doesn't work that way. These people, either they're brainwashed and stupid or they're just grifters. Probably just grifters. I wouldn't want to think that people that have such an ear with the public are this stupid.
You know, now he's getting his own private system of justice. This is an absolute travesty. It would not happen for anybody else. Anybody else, it would be...
Oh, he's being treated special? He's being treated with kid gloves? Are you out of your effing mind? Are you kidding me? All the shit that's come down, including the $83 million assault case, and it was a defamation case with zero evidence. Zero. As my cousin says, 0.00. And got $5 million, badmouthed her, then turned around, she sued and got 83. He's being treated with kid gloves? As my Italian grandmother rests her soul, what are you, a stupid?
You're like, sorry, buddy, you lost, pay up. For him, he gets his own set of rules.
Trump's getting special treatment by the legal system. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was provided more due process. Trump's facing 5 cases from 4 Democrat prosecutors with 0 victims, and Democrats are furious that he still owns a home. Get ready to get even angrier, because on the same day his bond was slashed in half, Trump's Social's parent company, Truth Social, their stock soared 35%.
Yeah. You got to love it, right? You have to love it. His net worth went up, what is it, $3 or $4 billion? Because they went public, what was it, 2 or 3, 4 days ago, something like that? The Truth Social went for public stock. And he owns a substantial share of it. It went up 35%. He picks up between $3 and $4 billion of net worth on paper, mind you, not cash. But that went up 35% the same day that they lowered his bond by more than half,
giving Trump a $4 billion cash injection. Trump's net worth just hit $6.5 billion on paper, making him one of the world's 500 richest people. Over the weekend, Joe Biden nicknamed Trump Broke Don.
Yeah, Broke Don. Yeah, he's going to be homeless in San Francisco in one of the tents, right? These people are delusional. They thought we had the whole system tied up. Now, he's not in the clear yet by any means. Don't get me wrong. And I wish the appellate division had come out with their ruling long before the day they were going to start seizing property, it seems like. Just for drama's sake, I really don't know. Or they're waiting till the last minute because they didn't want to hear the BS.
Better find a new nickname.
And there you have it, folks. There you have it. There's the three right there. Fannie Willis, Letitia James, and Bragg. This is from James Woods. Are these people operating in a completely unbiased manner with neither fear nor favor? Obviously, he knows the answer. James Woods is a smart guy. That was sarcasm. Are they party hacks, as some Americans assert, with the intention of interfering with a presidential election? Letitia James campaigned before she was Attorney General of New York to go after Donald Trump. And in fact, when they brought the indictments in Atlanta with Fannie Willis on the left, they announced them at a press conference late in the evening. It was like 10, 11 o'clock. They were told by the White House and the DOJ, you announce this now. And they said, well, we're not ready yet. We need to get a decent statement put together. Do it now. And so they did it at their request. Those are all true. And Bragg, another joke. It's amazing to me. Let me just leave you with this. This meme. The same people telling you this guy overvalued his assets also believe this guy's, meaning Hunter Biden's art is worth $1.5 million. Let that sink in for a moment. Whether you hate Trump or love him or somewhere in between, this whole thing stinks. And I hope this works out, not just for Trump, but more importantly, the American people, which is way more important, and the Constitution is way more important than any one person. Until the next time, God bless, goodbye, and good luck.